Alright, so you came here because you wanna learn how to play guitar lightning fast. So what I will do for you in this video is I will set you on the right path so that you can enjoy shredding the hell out of your guitar and unlock your real potential, your real speed potential with the guitar. Because what most people do is they pursue a completely wrong set of techniques in the beginning to try to play fast, and that just doesn't take them as far as they hope. So what we're gonna go through here is how to play scales pretty quickly and fast, and that will also take you on a path to other things that you can unlock then when you get a little bit more of this into your hands. So what I'm talking about here are the modes in 3-note per string system. This is a scale that we will be talking about. This is what I just played, and it's a C major scale, so we're starting this on the 8th fret. There is a C note on the E string, and this is basically what I played through, and then I shifted in the neighboring position, but that's irrelevant for now. Let's stick with this scale here first. So this is the low E string, A string, D and G and B string and high E string. This is just for you to lay it out so that you can see it one time, because what we're gonna do now is really go straight into playing it together. Here is the scale that shows you the fret numbers, and let's go through this. So we're playing this on the 8th fret, 10th fret and 12th fret, so as you can see there's always 3 notes on this, and this is the beauty of it, because your picking hand over time, it will need to learn only one motion to go, or one set of motion to go through all of this, and that makes it very easy. But I don't want to bore you too much with talking about this, so let's actually go through this. What I want you to do is grab your guitar and just focus on the first 6 notes, or even the first 3 notes. And the way that we play them so that we get the maximum efficiency and also stability out of it with your left hand is we use the fingers 1, 2 and 4. So the index finger, the middle finger and the pinky finger. Don't use the ring finger for this shape, because that will give you a kind of imbalance, and depends how you do it, not worth it, a very awkward stretch between the ring finger and the pinky finger. It's much more stable and better power balance to use these fingers here, 1, 2 and 4, and have them stretch through it. If you can't do the stretch yet here, just go a little bit higher up the fretboard for now, that's also fine, but over time I promise you will be able to do this. It's not inhumanly possible. So what you have to do first is don't have your thumb in some kind of weird awkward position, but if you can just do this with your finger, then you're like this kind of grip, then you just put the guitar in between and you have a pretty natural position, and your thumb should be pretty much opposite of the middle finger. Start out like that and you can play this shape pretty comfortably. Now, it might not feel comfortable in the beginning for you, so don't be too distracted by that, but try to not cramp up. That's the main thing. Don't cramp up here in your wrist muscles here, but just let the fingers slightly rest on the string. Don't press it down. And now let's start playing through this. So we're playing the first 3 notes here, and I'm gonna make this a bit bigger for you. Here we go. So we play those notes here, 1, 2, 3, the first 3. Let me turn on the sound here. So that's all I did, and we repeat this over here. And yeah, I changed the string to this one, and this pattern here you might already be used to that because it's just really, again, pretty much the same pattern for the fingers. It's the same fingers that you used here, but now you don't have the awkward stretch here, so that will be much easier now. So those are the next 3 notes, and you repeat them on this G string here. Now, I brushed over this so that we get to this pattern, because now I will show you something that will make this pattern much easier. So let's go back here right now, and instead of playing the frets 8, 10, 12, we're gonna play 9, 10, 12 for now, and I'm gonna show you a magic trick to make this stretch really feel natural. So if you put all your fingers here right next to each other here, so 9, 10, 12, 9, 10, 11, 12 for that matter, and all you have to do now to get into the position for the stretch position, let's call it stretch position for now, all you do is you overextend the index finger a little bit, and that is all you need to set you up for the right position. So just put the fingers next to here, overextend this, and you can play this pattern really easily. So I would like to get back now. There it is, very good. Just a simple double click, thank you. Now let's put this here back where we were. Okay, I'm gonna make myself even a bit smaller so that you can see this laid out better. So this pattern here, for those patterns, all you have to do really is just use the index finger, the ring finger, and the pinky finger. So don't neglect the pinky finger here. That it's gonna build over time, so try not to feel too frustrated when it will feel difficult, but after a week of practicing this, you will already have a much different perspective on this. So this is how to play from the fingering point of view this type of scale. This type of scale. So this is just really the scale boring from first note to the last note, played up and down. Not really much music in there. So I wouldn't recommend recommend practicing this type here really more than just 5 minutes or something, or just play it through 2 or 3 times to get a feeling of where your fingers go. But what we do now to build more speed with this is we look into the picking pattern. So let's for a moment just take a little excerpt from this, for example this part here, and play it only up to here. Now here is where we break this up to make it a little bit sound more musical. So we're gonna repeat this section here, put it right there, and stick this section at the end. So this now would sound like this. I will play it for you once here. This is just that section, and you maybe hear that it sounds already much more like something musical than just. So that's really just a note sequence and stale and boring. And we can do even more with this, because now I will show you how you have to adjust your picking, basically your whole picking paradigm. It's gonna tell you, I'm gonna tell you something that might seem actually pretty intuitive, but it has been taught out of this for the last decades, because everyone was just pursuing alternating picking and was swearing on that. But now we're gonna do something a little bit different to get much more efficiency, and here is how that looks like. So downstroke, upstroke, downstroke. This symbol here is an upstroke, so if we go, the pick curve is from here in this direction, so from here over there. On the guitar it looks like we go from here and we strike the string, and then from the upstroke perspective we come from here and pick the string there. Now, because we're already playing a downstroke here and the next note is here, let's just repeat this. So this continues like this, down, up, down, down, up, down. This didn't do anything. There we go. And what we have here is a little section of so-called economy picking, but we're not gonna stick with economy picking all the way either. But this is already much better than just playing up, down, up, down, up, down, because we don't have to do so much string skipping. So this will make it in the long run much easier for you. It's like if you're a swimmer and you're used to doing breaststroke all the way, you've gotten pretty good at it and you've gotten pretty fast, but when you're switching, when someone shows you the crawl stroke in swimming, which is simply faster, then you switch over to that and you might feel slower because you're not used to this kind of motion, but over time you will beat your personal records every day of the week because you've just gotten the superior technique. And this is a little bit how this works as well here. So you might feel slower with this, maybe even for a few weeks at first, but this will take you further. Now, here is the part where it goes away from the so-called economy picking, and we will see the beauty of something called directional picking. So what we do here now is, because we come from the G string and we have to go to the D string here, we're gonna just go like usual alternate picking. So now we would have to do an upstroke, here regular downstroke, upstroke, and now we change direction again with the string change. So now we have a downstroke here, upstroke, downstroke, and now what we can do is downstroke, upstroke, downstroke, downstroke, up, down again. So this is really the only seaming point. This is the seam here between those two patterns. And there is really where we deviate from economy picking, because this whole sequence, what we can call it, is from the picking perspective, called directional picking. This is coined, I think, by Tom Hess, and that's where I learned from, and I must say it's really just genius, and it helped my playing a lot, and so did it for all of my students as well. And some critics say, yeah, but you can't accent this note here because it's on the one beat, and you can't accent it properly because it's a downstroke, but that's simply because their upstrokes aren't as strong developed as their downstrokes. You can get a really accented upstroke, so this, don't worry about this. So here is our scale sequence anyway, and if you practice the C major scale, for example, in this way, it will already sound much more musical and much more fun to play as well, and you can speed this up much easier. Now, you can basically, if you want to play this descending, so from the higher strings to the lower strings, you just reverse this. So I'm not gonna type it out, I'm gonna leave that up to you to find out, but it really just goes like this. That's really all there is to it. So I basically played this whole thing in reverse. Now, this is not the only way you can break up a pattern. There's millions of ways. You can make up your own scale sequences very easily and have fun practicing them. You will don't be afraid of doing anything wrong. You can't. As long as you stick to the principles, everything is fine. I will revisit the principles in a short moment. So for now, I'm going to show you one more scale sequence, and also if you are interested in this, I will give you these documents and more accompanying material about this. If you click the link below this video, you will find it there. I will happily send it over to you, no problem. Then you can also use those materials here and you don't have to watch the YouTube video all the time here. And you can just pull up those documents. Should make it easier for you, and if you have any questions you can always reach out to me anyway. So let's go to the next scale sequence, and that one will look like this. I'm gonna take this part here. Now we break it up here, and I will go back to this note. So how that looks like is gonna be this. Basically this part comes next. Now this part comes next. Yes. Let's see if it lets me do this over the bar line here. That does not look good, so Control Z. Yeah. I'm gonna type this out really quick. So there we have it, and this is the whole scale sequence now from a little bit different perspective. And just I've set up a different breaking point and repeated the little patterns just from there. So this is what it sounds like. And this is just how you play it. Now the interesting thing about this scale sequence, if you're trying to find this out, is this directional picking thing only happens really here once. Down, up, down. And the rest of this scale sequence will really just be, that's just how it happens to come out, is pretty much alternating picking. It just happens to be that way, and it doesn't clash with the philosophy of directional picking, because you're still taking the same approach. So that means the principle, the philosophy of directional picking is that your pick always travels the shortest way to the next note. There are 2 or 3 exceptions about this, but you don't really have to worry about those for now. We cross that bridge when we get there, but you can get with this approach very, very far, so don't even worry about those exceptions now. They will not make any big difference for you at the moment. So let's recap really quick. We play these here with the fingers 1, just this shape here, fingers 1, 2 and 4. So that means with the index finger, the middle finger and the pinky finger, just like this shape and this shape as well. And if you want to learn how to play this shape, you essentially set up your fingers like this in the shape here, and you overextend your index finger to the left, and then you are pretty much in the right shape, as long as you keep your thumb opposite side to the middle finger, or maybe you can try to also get it tending to the ring finger. That's fine, but that's generally a good position to start with. And the picking pattern goes like by the principle of letting the pick travel the shortest way to the next note, regardless of where you came from. So if you, for example, had a downstroke here and your pick is already moving into the direction of the A string, then you do a downstroke here. Now, one final note about this little section here. This should feel like one motion only. Imagine it like playing baseball and there's 2 balls flying at you at the same time. You wouldn't try to hit them with 2 separate motions, but if they're flying parallel to you, you can just try to sweep them both with one motion. And that's a little bit how this is also like in this example. And there was the keyword like sweeping them with 2 motions, so this will lead you also to better sweep picking later on when we talk about how to play sweep picking arpeggios. And here is, if you're practicing the slow, here's my best advice to play this slow. I'm gonna make this window big here so that you see it exactly what I'm doing. Your pick should land on, if you have like a rest stroke, that's what it's called when you have two consecutive strings in a row with your pick. So for example, downstroke on the E string, downstroke on the A string. If you want to play this in rhythm, you have to pay attention to playing this really in time. Now, if you're playing it slow, you have one stroke on the metronome beat here on the E string, and now the next on the A string comes up. You rest your pick on the A string, and then when the next metronome beat comes up, you pull it through. So this is essentially the motion. This also applies to sweep picking, but we get to that later. So just to get clear on how to get the feeling right. And this is only for slow tempos, so that whenever you have a string change, so that you just get used to the feeling of pushing through, and don't do this when you have a string change. 1, 2. This is not what you want. This is what you want. Not this, but this. Very good. So let's get a last view into where you can take this. So I showed you this shape here, but there are 7 other shapes with those funny names. Don't worry about learning the names by heart or anything, you will learn them over time anyway. But you can apply this pattern to all of those shapes, and I will give you also this document here. You will see this in the document that I will give you when you click the link in the description and follow the instructions there. I will send something right over to you so that you also see those here, and then you can just have the whole thing to take this all over the fretboard and play it no matter where you are, and you don't have to stick to just one shape, but you can learn all the different shapes. So if we're playing in C major, this would be all, if this was in C major, you would start this on the C, this on the D, this on the E, F, G, A, and B, just to give you a little overview. But that's really, that will be clear from the documents that I will give to you. So now there you have it. This is your foundation. Don't think this will solve all your problems, but this will get you at least on the right path, because then, yeah, I don't know, wherever you are, it might have some unlearning of bad habits behind it for you, so that might be the case for you. If you're pretty new to this, you have less unlearning to do. But either way, if you want more help with this, just click the link in the description, get in touch with me. I'm happy to help you out along the way and also train and coach you how to apply this musically. There's tons of stuff to do and you will never run out of things to do, so that's gonna be a lot of fun and a lot to discover as well, so you can actually look forward to that. Try not to feel overwhelmed, but go into some kind of explorer mindset so that you just try to develop some curiosity, because this will be very rewarding for you as well. So I hope to see you on the other side, and look out for my other videos very soon. Ciao.